welcome back to the Shire. Hobbit Racing, Tony here. I want to review something a little bit different. I'm not necessarily going to give a review of the overall process yet, the tune, running the car, but I want to review something that is another one of those big projects for me. I'm going to guess that a lot of people are aware of SRC in Spain, but I'll bet you there's a lot of people out there that might not know a lot about them, about what things you can buy from them, what liveries they might make, what kind of white kits they make. So this is an opportunity to review something where this is expected to be a highly tunable, very well performing slot car. And it's new to me, but it's another one of those bucket list slot cars that I'm going to do here. And this is a Porsche 919. And so I would love to share with you my experience as I take this out of the box and share just what SRC has to offer in one of these chrono kits and a white kit variety. Very exciting for me. I do hope I stay out of the camera with these camera angles. You never know. I think I'm out of the way. So, considering this wonderful C7 white kit that I just did from NSR and one of my bucket list liveries, one of my bucket list slot cars, if you will, I'm now on to another bucket list white kit livery of mine. These are Le Mans decals, and we have a unique brand here. We have a unique company, SRC from Spain. I'm guessing maybe slot racing company. I don't know an overly abundant amount of information about this company compared to, say, Slot.it or NSR or Scale Auto. I know they're making very high quality cars. They don't produce a lot of liveries. They have some rally cars. They have the Toyota Chrono kit that is the equal runner, supposedly, to this car. But this car right here is, well, this car is this car right here. This is the Le Mans winning 2017 Porsche 919 that dethroned, starting in year 2015 maybe, that dethroned Audi and Toyota, who eventually, I think, kind of took over again. It was an era where, let's face it, Le Mans prototypes were winding down, and we have what we have now, being the hypercars. And I don't know why, maybe I'll get a Toyota one day, but Porsches and, there you go, just give a little shout out, Le Mans decals. Porsche and Chevrolet Corvettes, it's my thing. So let's take the lid off. What you'll notice right away is this is not like your classic NSR white kit or your sideways or your slotted white kit for that matter. You have some significant assembly ahead of yourself. Most white kits that we know are for you to be able to do the interior, therefore the glass is disassembled, and so you may have to do some work on the glass as well as the body and the interior and the wing. Otherwise, most of the car is intact. And we'll get into that. You've got your nice branding from them, SRC España.es, of course. You've got their chrono kit idea of decals or decals. Again, I always love to satisfy everybody's need on that one. I don't know why. Those are some nice rondelles and some other things that I can do things with. The Porsche signs are going to give me some things that I can maybe do on other white kits because I have what I need right here. And so, but it's nice because they don't have this in a livery. So their idea is they've given you a little bit, and they even give you some extra. I can't remember what's inside of those, but there's even some extra things inside of there. I quite frankly don't believe I have a need for these. Le Mans decals cover every inch of this car fully. I have many angles of this car. at many angles of die-cast liveries of this car from other folks who've done it, and you can purchase at eBay. So let's take a look at this to begin with. There's your wheel inserts. Unquestionably, those will be painted. Here's your tires, which probably won't be used, short of the front tires. And then you've got metal, anodized in black, rear wheels. I will have to figure out what super tires and what quick slicks fit those. Honestly, they look like CB58s to me, or TS 1408 RSs. That looks pretty wide to me. I've just got a good eye for it. That's just how that works out for me. They do give you some different shore rubber in there for the rear and for the front. And this is where things start to get interesting. Believe it or not, that's a front wheel. I put one together. I've already been warned by some others. You have to glue it. We cannot rely on that factor not slipping. Now, to be honest, what do we really care? If it sends the car out of balance, then we don't want it to, but why do we really overly care about a wheel that we just want to rotate? True, but I'll glue it together. I certainly will. Things get unique now. You have not one, but 4 different rear axle mounts to be able to go up through or down through the axle mount and figure out your ride height adjustment. I think those are 4 different heights. Either that or they've just given you a shot to replace it 3 times. That seems a little strange to me, so I don't think that's what's going on there. We've got our axles, our front axle and our rear axle. I don't even believe they're the same width. I think the front axle is like a 2mm axle, but everything is so high-end about this car. This is a hollowed-out axle, and it has ball bearings in the rear. Moving along, the chassis, we will find out, is in multiple pieces. In case you couldn't tell, that's the front splitter, lower half. Here are a lot of little bits. We have some of the light holders inside of here for the front lights. We have a few of the pieces that might be referenced as some, maybe there's a mirror or 2 in there, or a gas cap. This is a couple of antennas that are mounted on the production part when it was injection molded or 3D printed, and so you've got a couple of antennas for the top of the car as well. Then inside of here, we have a little bit more technical detail here. We start to get into the axle block holders, the different ways that the chassis can be held onto, and you've got your side suspension and your rear suspension and all your hardware associated with that. Then inside of this bag, you've got all of your clear plastic parts to represent the glass. There's something interesting to note about this car. My taping detail and your taping detail, should you choose to take the dive, matters. The bezel of this car has been produced, the bezel of the lights for this car has been produced where this part that you can see here actually is carbon fiber on the car. And so that's going to be an interesting paint job to get those pieces carbon fibers, aka black, and they'll be matte finished afterwards. You can start to follow along, or if you choose to start to follow along, which I hope you do. And by the way, hit that subscribe button if you haven't by now. Give me some feedback and hit the like button, and you'll notice how I will go ahead and I will rim paint the edge of that very carefully, and I will do my best not to overpaint, because once you get paint on plastic parts that are meant to be see-through, even if you use some alcohol to remove them, it really is a detriment to those parts. So you just got to do your best to get it in there and then hope that you don't have to wipe any away. It can be wiped away, but you got to be careful with the solvents that you use. Other pieces in here are the lights, the light kit itself. The light kit, I'll be all right. The lights themselves actually are done up very nicely to actually look like the lights when they shine through the glass, and the cockpit is in there, and so are the windows. The cockpit and the windows, the cockpit glass and the window glass and the sides of the cockpit are also separate pieces. That's going to be a fascinating plastic solder experience there. We still haven't even made our way to the body yet, folks. I mean, this is a childhood dream to go back and like do a Revel monogram car that actually, well, it works. It's a slot car. It can be in motion. Next, inside of here, I didn't even untape this. Let's do it together. Well, let's go back here with some technical parts. Again, they are not holding out on you whatsoever. You have two different guide choices. I believe that we're looking at, oh yeah, there's no question. This is going to be about a 7mm, and this looks like it's a 9mm. So they've already given you a wood track and a plastic track guide, spacers, everything. Actually quite soft braid. Very, very nice on that as well. Let's keep unpacking. We're almost there. Looks like a spur and pinion set here, and then an axle stop, of course. And this is a pinion that is a 0.9 or a 0.95 to hold it in place. And this is a very nice gear that very well could be, for all we know, a slotted gear or coming out of the same factory as a slotted gear. It's not a slotted gear, I can tell you. I'm trying to read it right now and in the light, and it's not. But again, it's also very, very considerate to put relevant packages inside of here together as you're doing it. And then what should be the rest of that's inside of here? I guess let's untape it together. I would like to not completely destroy what's been taped for me. So I'm going to try and be careful while we all learn what this last bag has in store for us. Oh, I already started to rip it. Tony, come on. All right, this last bag has in store for us, oh, of course, the lightweight interior. And I mean lightweight interior. I love painting interiors. I just get a kick out of it. This guy's got a noggin, really detailed head, and he just sits on top of there. So again, very thoughtful. This is a high performance car meant to be done up to your standards and raced. Look at that. Oh, nope, I think I just dumped something out of it by accident. I thought that was it, and maybe not. Then something fell out, and I could be wrong. Of course, just some hardware. Again, it makes sense. It makes sense. And now here we start to get into what we're all familiar with, the white kit body. Well, what do you know? Look at that. Just like the hypercars, these are two-part bodies, but these have been around long since before Scale Auto did the hypercars. I'm thankful that it's in two parts. In fact, no, wait for it. It's in 4 parts. So it's actually in 4 parts, and I'm appreciative of that. I'm probably going to paint this car in 2 parts. These will obviously be, permanently glued on here. But one of the most interesting parts about this livery is the way Porsche did it when they kind of did like I don't even know. I'm probably saying this wrong, but originally in like 16 and 15, they did like these cross designs that reminded me of like a Swiss flag or something. They were some sort of crosshair on the car. It wasn't Swiss. This was obviously a German manufacturer. I'm not trying to insult Porsche or anybody out there by saying that. But the interesting part is these pieces of the decal right here, this part right here wraps all the way around to here. You are not going to be able to be successful trying to paint this car in one piece and then put that decal on there, even with microsol, to get it to wrap. You don't need to. There's absolutely no reason you can't paint this car in the booth in 2 parts and put it together afterwards. So you've got a 4-part body. The wing comes off, so call it a 5-part body if you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you've got, nice. We won't even edit that out. We'll leave my goofiness right there on that in there. Stay there. And then we've got the chassis, right? And so where did I put the front of it? There's the front of the chassis. It's not even taken out of its injection molding yet. Super, super high-end chassis. Good-looking axle blocks to be able to put in your set screws to be able to get your ride height appropriate. I think you can only raise the ride height. It doesn't look like you can lower it much lower than that axle block already sits right there. but you've still got lots of millimeters worth of play that you can do some stuff in there. Really thoughtful pod. Again, you're going to choose how you're going to mount your offset with your angle winder motor. And you've got spring suspension, I believe, in all 4 parts of this pod. And then to be perfectly honest, this car may not mesh up with anything. This car could end up, just blowing away. Let's not say blowing away. This car could do better than the NSR R18 Le Mans prototype, because it just could, because every component in here is so thoughtfully done. And it's not to say that NSR is not thoughtfully done by any stretch of the imagination, but you just may have something that stretches beyond. Maybe it's comparable to the hypercar, to the Scale Auto hypercars. We will find out. And then of course, obviously they gave you their motor, right? So they gave you their motor. Let's see. Ooh, come on, Tony. 21,000 RPMs. Wow. Does that say what I think it says? I think it says 320 grams per centimeter of torque. Oh, let's just look. Oh, I'll be all right. No. This is almost a flat. I mean, I think it is. This is almost a flat 6. Okay, this is. Oh no, I was wrong. I didn't see it, and now I can see it more clearly. 300 grams per centimeter of torque, 21,000 RPMs. So, I just don't have the track that you can feather through, because you do have to slow down in the corners a little bit more, and the technical nature of taking off at that kind of torque and the pace. Maybe I'll put it in there and see what it does out of the gate before I just assume that maybe I can run this car with other Le Mans prototypes and switch to the MX-16 or the Piranha. Because, that's also assuming that I can get a CG motor adapter successfully in this. And I, in theory, should be able to, whether I put them opposite sides or stack them. It's a long can motor. It shouldn't be a problem to go in there. But you can see the modeling experience that I'm going to get out of it. This is going to be a functional slot car that is uber high quality, with options for how you want the car to ride. I'm certain that if I measure this, this is probably a 16 or a 17 millimeter gear that could be used differently. I'm sure I could put slotted gears in here, or slotting plus gears in here if I so chose. Guide selection looks wonderful to begin with. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Just like the Vet, this will not be a rush, but I'll bet you it's going to come together a lot faster than I think. The paint job, to be perfectly honest, is not an overly complex paint job. The paint job here, I'll probably flash it up on the screen while I'm talking when I edit this. It's really just a little bit of black across the back. The whole entire wing is a marginal piece, but it's ironic. The decals cover the marginal piece coming up to the center fin. And then you've got a diagonal cut of black coming across here, carbon fiber. It looks like carbon fiber around the lights. And then the difference, the only thing that will be some painting savvy will be the back half carbon fiber and the front half carbon fiber will be clear coated in matte finish, and the rest of the car will be clear coated in gloss, because I want these pieces to look like carbon fiber. So it's going to be a blast. I believe I'm going to go with gravity colors. I believe I'm going to airbrush this car. I'm going to go with like Schwarzgrau. I'm probably even saying that wrong. I probably said that terrible. But I've got the Porsche lineup of colors through Gravity Colors in Spain. I found the white. It's Grand Prix white. I think it's Schwarzgrau black. And then I found a metallic silver. I've taken enough advice from Scott Culp and Lee Wright over the years that it's really just not a great idea to try and truly make mirror finishes and get like, silver leaf and put it on there. I will paint that with my best metallic silver. But trying to make that a mirrored finish where that part was mirrored is just, it's not worth it. In terms of trying to do that, it's better to just represent it with a metallic color that represents it. And then I believe right here where the exhausts are, these exhaust ports also have a little bit of a grayish chrome type of look to them for obvious reasons, right? You've got a lot of heat building up coming out of here, and they kind of made these little pool shaped pieces that come off the back. So I'm jacked up. This is so exciting. Again, you know, a bucket list slot car for me. I don't have too many of them, but I've got a few. I've got a handful of them, and I'm excited. The one thing that I would say, if I want to give SRC some feedback about this, there's a couple of tips and tricks about doing some threading as opposed to self-tapping the screws into certain places, which, to be honest, if you have enough hobbyist experience as opposed to the toy brands, usually with our 0.9 and 1.3 grub screws and with our other leading edge screws like a flathead or a Phillips head self-tapper, we go for it. There's some suggestions on their website about where you want to pre-thread some screws if you so desire, but there's no instructions that I've found to date on how to actually build the car. Now you might say, but Tony, it's a slot car. How complicated could it be to build? I had to look at this sucker for a long time to try and figure out. When I was looking at it on Christmas morning and I took it apart, I tried to figure out, were these wheel inserts, what were they? And then I realized these were the wheels themselves. So it's not illogical. And certainly we can all understand what a chassis and a motor pod looks like. And it probably goes together relatively simple. But I would love to know why I have 4 choices. Maybe I'll have to take the caliper out and figure out ride height. And then the suspension is going to be a little bit of a mystery in terms of that. I would love to have seen an example online rather than just an example of someone painting it and having SRC uploaded. I think that they could go one step further, and the technical installation of the front axle, the technical installation of the rear axle, and the technical installation of the suspension should be documented on their website. But otherwise, I'm not going to, I don't think I'm going to have too many struggles. And they have an email that you can email. And oh, by the way, we have a community full of wonderful people out there from many different forums, from many different social media outlets that I'm sure if I run into a problem, I'll find out who to email and ask for help. So I just thought this was fascinating to show everybody. You don't hear a lot about this company. When we all get together and race, we all want cars to run together, right? I think, I'm that crazy right now. You can't see too far beyond my blue board that I always show, but there's 5 Corvettes within arm's length right here. That's what it's all about for us, right? This car may not have a runner unless I were to buy the Toyota GR, was it a 10 back then? Maybe the GR10 is what they're racing now for the hypercars. But, at the end of the day, this was already considered a hypercar, I think, if you look at the decals. But let's be honest again. I don't know if you can run this car fairly against a slotted LMP, the Orica, the Acura, the Scale Autos. Maybe the Scale Autos can give this a run for its money, or maybe this can give the Scale Autos a run for their money. My 2 Scale Auto Porsche 963 GTPs are just outrageously fast cars with that suspension and the wonderful chassis that comes with them. So I'm excited about it. But yes, to the point of the modeling means so much to me. And if I can run it even better, of course I'll run it. But if I can run it with other people and against other cars, then that's icing on the cake for me. So be on the lookout for a series of videos coming out on this car. And maybe I've introduced you to SRC for the first time, or maybe I'm bringing you back to take a second look at SRC. So as you can see, no matter what, at face value, it's still a slot car, right? It's still a slot car. It has some really, really high-end engineering put into things like the suspension, things like what appears to be, again, the 4 different axle block considerations that I can make in the back. But otherwise, you got a chassis. You got a body. You got a wing. I don't know if a wing makes it a race car, but a lot of our slot cars that are race cars have wings. and it's got some tires, right? And some rims, right? And so, you know, I'm very excited about it. It's got a lot more modeling aspects than most white kits would. I think you would agree. But I'm up for the adventure, and I am super excited because it's a Porsche. So I'll hope to put some content out there in different segments of how I build this one. So thanks for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, help this little channel out doing little things with little cars, and hit that subscribe button. Give me some feedback and give me some likes, because that always helps us with the algorithm. Thanks for watching.
If you don't subscribe to Public Racing, I'll poke you with my staff. Pokey, pokey, pokey.
She will poke you with her staff.
Pokey!